Hello.
Hey, I think it's recording. And can you hear me okay?
Yeah. I think another
Sorry, could you say that again?
I think another tutor is in the waiting room, so I'll add him. Let me just double check.
Okay, sounds good. Hi, Medill.
Hi, how you guys doing?
How about
I'm
you?
just here. I'm just here to watch if you guys don't mind.
That's will be fine. Thanks.
Yeah, I got my lesson on Wednesday, but I haven't done a lesson yet, so I don't know what to expect and stuff.
I see. Good luck.
Thank you. I think you're gonna be there doing the chat.
Yeah, I think so.
Yeah. Have you done this before?
I've been in the chat before, yeah. I haven't really taught a lesson.
Also, it's gonna be your first lesson as well.
Indeed, yes.
Damn.
Hopefully, no.
Are you teaching now, or is it
I'll be teaching.
the? Oh, okay.
I'll change my name.
I'll let everyone in 1 minute.
Yeah.
Okay. How many people are in the queue waiting?
4 right now.
Okay. You guys know how many people are expected?
Yeah.
I thought there's gonna be a lot. Let's see. All right. I'll just mute myself.
Hey everyone. So we're just waiting for a few more people to come in, but I'll be your tutor for today. My name is Dermot, like Kermit the Frog. Yeah, so we'll just admit some more people in. And yeah, since we'll get quite a lot of people, seemingly, it'd be best if you guys mute and then type in the chat if you have any questions. My other Codex tutor, Malika, here in the chat, will be here answering any questions you have. So today we're doing a little intro to Python. You know what it is, some printing variables, just sort of intro to some core concepts. And then throughout the week you'll get more advanced and learning more technical skills. Yeah, just curious, are most people here beginners at coding in general? You can let us know in the chat. Cool. Some beginners. Great. Very amazing. Okay, so like I can't see the chat right now, so if anything occurs, just let me know. I'll just share my screen. Okay. So this is again day one, introduction. So today we're going to be understanding what Python is, understanding how to program outputs, and understanding how to program inputs in Python, as well as what variables are and how to store them in Python. So yeah, of course, hopefully by the end you'll be as happy as this second guy over here, and you'll learn something new today. So some more people coming in.
My name's Tobias. Turn off on that one.
Oh, is it?
Yeah.
Just letting some more people come in. So what is Python? So obviously there's tons of programming languages that you might have heard of. We usually choose Python to teach students because it's very powerful and is used by companies all over the world like Spotify and Google. You can also do it independently as an individual developer. And it's quite a straightforward way of writing it, which makes it very good for beginners and easy to develop yourself over time. And also you can use it in various things like data science, software engineering, and even sort of creatively in producing diagrams and drawings. So when we write Word documents, you guys use like Google Docs or Word to type text. So for writing code, we do the same thing. We have an IDE, which allows us to edit and type code. So I'm going to be just pasting this link into the chat. And this is the IDE or code editor that we'll be using today. So if you open the link I put in the chat, it should take you to a page like this. And once you guys are here, you'll see that on the left side of the screen where it says main, you can type whatever you want and more lines can appear. And then on the right, the output will appear, the response to what you've typed. So we'll just go through a bit about that. Just give people a few seconds to open this up. Just Let me know in the chat if everyone's all caught up and they're all here.
What do you need to do? You need to.
Hi, sorry, could we ask that everyone remain muted, please? And you can just follow the link that's been pasted in the chat. Thank you.
Oh yeah, and guys, if possible, keep your cameras on just so I can see people interact, and see, your response to some questions. But yeah, obviously, if you can't, then no worries. Okay, so assume everyone's here now. So, the first thing everyone does to check if your code editor is working is to output something. So the first thing I want you guys to do, I'll explain what this is in a sec. Just type print and then a bracket and then type hello world. And then once you've typed that, click the play button on top. This will run your code, and then on the other side, it'll say hello world. Is everyone okay with that? You guys can just let me know in the chat if everything's okay here. Great. So someone says it worked. Okay. So what we did here basically, we outputted some code. So an output is a value which gets sent from the computer to as a message to the user. So we're typing in this computer section here, and it's outputting towards the user as an output. So just like when you send a text message, you're typing some text and then you press send, and then it gets sent on your chat log and you can see it. So we use print for that, to print towards the user. And we always say hello world. It's just what not every programmer always does as a first test. So you've technically written your first computer program. So yeah, this is what I've said. So print is called a function because the function of that command is to output something on towards the user. So that's what a function is. It has a function can do something within code using a special keyword print. So this is what it always looks like. You have print, bracket, quotations, a sentence, quotations, bracket, and then that's how you print out a sentence. So if you guys want to try again, I'll put the sentence, I love coding, and then you use the print function to output I love coding. And then once you're done with that, use the print function to output your name. Just give you a minute or two to try that out. Yeah, I'll do it again here. I can zoom in. I'll do something like print, and then quotations. My name is Dermot. And then you click the play button up here. And then on the other side, you got my name is Dermot. Yeah, let me know in the chat if everyone's okay with that. Amazing. And for the people who just joined, I don't think you get a certificate for this. But if you want, there are courses that Codex do where you get certificates for or accreditations. So that's something you can look into on the website. For people who just joined, I put the link in for the code editor here. You can just follow along with us and ask Malika in the chat for any questions. So we've done some outputs. Now we're going to be looking a bit at the data. So data I guess in general, is information that can be stored in a computer. So that could be, you're writing a shopping list on your phone, or if you're looking at the results of a sporting event, might be stored somewhere in a computer. You can store text or numbers. Basically, anything you can see on your keyboard, you can store those keys as data. So yeah. When we code, we need to store data. So we use variables to store data on a computer. A variable represents a piece of data that's stored. So basically, sort of like a shopping cart, where if you get lots of cereal from a supermarket, you can't hold everything in your hands. You put the cereal in a shopping cart, and that's stored, and you can take it to the till and use it later and replace the cereal and just manage all the data you have. So in Python, we replicate that with this syntax. So we have a label or a name of a variable called age, and we set it equal to 20. So 20 is the data, and we're storing it in a place called age. So you can have a label called name and say name equals Dermot and age equals 20. And then later in your code, you can refer back to the name as being Dermot. So yeah, just like that. Now we can use the age variable in our code like this. So if we set age to be 20, and then we print age without the quotations, then we output 20. And make note that there's no quotation marks here because age is a name of a variable. It's not a sentence that we're trying to type. Here again, we have a variable called my name, and we set it equal to Bob in quotations because it's a sentence. It's not a label for anything. And then we print my name, the variable name, and we output the value Bob. So just be aware of the punctuation. So yeah, just be careful when you're naming variables. You can't have spaces between any letters. So instead, you can do an underscore if you need a space, like if you're making a Instagram name or something. You can't have special words. Some special words can't be a name of a variable. So you can't have print as a name because that's already a function. You can't have symbols as well as names because you're sort of using these in between the name and the data. You can have numbers in the name though, but you can't have them at the start. But the great thing about Python is that it'll tell you if you're wrong. So we can just make sure everyone's okay with this. So when you're back in your Chunkit page, you can write a variable called age equals 20 or your own whatever age you want to do. It's Python, so you can say age equals 90 if you want. And then you can print age and run it. And so here Python detected the variable name age which is set equal to the number 90. And if you can see a bit closely, the value is blue here, but the name is black. So you can also, the variable isn't fixed. You can always change the value. So here, for example, you have age set to 20, and we print out age, just like what I did, exactly what I did. But then it's setting age to then equal 21 and printing it out again. So then in the output, which is the right side of that trinket page, you get 20 and then 21. So I want you to write your own variable that stores your name, okay? And then print it out. I want you to have name and set it equal to whatever your name is. Now remember, the difficult thing here is that you need to have quotation marks with if it's a sentence. On your keyboard, you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 0. Any of those numbers, any combination of those numbers, any number at all, you don't need quotation marks. That's why when you set a variable age, like 54, no quotation marks. But for a sentence and some letters, you need quotation marks. And now we can print out name, and that gives us our name. Without quotation marks, it changes color, and you get a big red error. So make sure you put those quotation marks.
I'm sorry to bother, but I think we have an issue with one of the students not being able to log into or get Trinket working. We tips.
What do they see? What do you see on the screen when you when you can't log in properly? Because there shouldn't really be a login.
I'm not sure. There's not much detail.
Do you see a white screen as well? You only see join class and course. Huh. Join class. Very strange. Okay. Oh, you can see it now? Okay, great. Well, if you see it, Kamal, if you see anyone else with the issue, you can maybe help them out. Okay, so I see some people have invalid syntax. So I'll say, just look at my screen and try and compare it with yours. So no spaces on the first line, NAME, and then a purple equal sign, hopefully, and then quotation marks, any text inside, and then a quotation mark. And then next line, right at the start, you have print, which turns pink, and then, oops, and then bracket, and then you name again, and then bracket, no quotation marks. Make sure you guys have it like that. Let's just put the link back in case someone needed it. Okay, Malika, do you want to just let me know if there's any more issues?
No worries. I'm pasting the links into the chat. too.
Okay. Okay, so far we've stored data and we've outputted it. Another thing you can do when you code is take inputs. So inputs are basically, so outputs were values that the computer sends out to the user. Inputs are values that the user can send to the computer. The computer can then process them and then send them and output them back. So a good example of an input is underneath here, where they go, I'm thinking of a number between 1 and 99. Try and guess it. What is the number I'm thinking of? And then you have to type in a number. So the computer is waiting for you to type in an input and respond to his question. So how do we do that? Basically, we had the print function. Now we have an input function. And this one's easier. It's just input and then brackets. And then the program waits for us to type something. So for example, we can do input and then bracket and then quotation marks. What is your name? This will ask the user, what is your name? And wait for the response. Kind of like how you can make like a survey or something like that. So now we can ask the user what their age is. So imagine if we're like making a registration page for a website or something. We can type input and then the bracket and the quotations. What is your name? And if we just do this, and then we click run, then on the other side, we'll have the sentence, but also this flashing space here. That's because if you click in this area, you can then type over here, and then you click enter, and then it's complete. So you can actually give the computer your name. So I can just do that again. So I type this out, I click run. What is your name? I click over here, and then I type my name. Like that.
Hi, sorry to bother. There's another issue in the chat. Someone said, when I type a second letter, the first one gets deleted, and another person kind of seconded that as well.
Oh.
I don't know if that's. I just told them to retype because the issue might be the device they're working on.
Make sure also that the text that you type, you haven't selected it all like this or something.
Yeah.
And I'd say also try, if you have any issues, reload the page. But yeah. Otherwise, Malika can also just send you this code here. If you can't catch it. Okay, I'll just continue for now. And yeah, let Malika know if you run into any issues here. We'll be doing similar things in the next few minutes. So don't worry. So yeah, right now we've been doing input. This will wait for us to type something, but it doesn't really do anything with what we've typed. It just sort of ends. So that's a bit useless. So we need to store the input somewhere. So do you guys know how we can store the user input? Any ideas? Put in the chat. Yeah, okay, no worries at all. Basically, we talked about storing data before with variables. So our input is also data, and that can also be stored in a variable. Okay, so I'll quickly show you how to do that. So if we do input, what is your name? And we run it. And then I type Dermot. Nothing happens. So we want to store Dermot. So I will set a variable called name. So now now Dermot will be stored in the label called name. And if we print name like we did before, and I type my name again, Dermot will appear because we printed it out. And now to make the output more interesting, inside this print statement, you can write something like, remember in quotes, you can say my name is space, and then outside of the quotes, make a plus. And then I outputted my name is Dermot because we have a sentence here in quotations, and we've added on a variable. So we've combined two elements in a print statement, and we've made it look like one sentence. So what I want you guys to try now is I want you to create a program like we just did that asks the user, what is your name, what is your age, and what is your favorite color? And then I want you to print out the responses, just like I did. So I'll just write them up here. So I want you to say, what is your name, what is your age, what is your favorite? So I want you to make three input questions to the user asking for these three things and then print each one. I'll just give you guys a few minutes to try that out. So the plus, basically, if you don't have the plus and you have what is my, and then you have the variable name and you run it, you get an error. And that's because the plus combines different elements and outputs it as one. So in this case, we're combining a sentence with a variable, but then when you run it, it looks like, oops. Oh, sorry. And then when you run it, it appears as one sentence. Also, don't put this section in your code. It's just for me to show you the instructions. I will slowly just start doing the solution now, so you guys can follow along and see like if you got any errors in how you wrote the sentence. So first I will write name equals, actually I won't speak in case you guys are concentrating. So that should be sort of the result that you're getting. I'll just go through it now. Oh wow, Kamal, you had a bug and you fixed it. Okay, you're a professional already. If you're a programmer, you'll always get bugs, but the biggest part about being a programmer is how you fix them and how fast you fix them. So yeah, here I've done 3 similar lines. Input, what is your name? And then stored it in the variable name. And then repeated that for age and color. And then that's why in blue you can see I had to answer each question one by one. And then underneath, I did 3 print statements with a sentence in quotations, and then added on the variable that corresponds to one I want to print out. And again, look out for your brackets, look out for your quotations, look out for the colors of things, make sure everything's aligned. And yeah, for example, don't capitalize print, and Python will tell you it's wrong because it's not in this purple color. Yeah, it's a few minutes. I know there are some newcomers as well. And yeah, if you guys so if there are some guys who are just waiting, you can always change the values here, or it's even possible to write all 3 of these print statements into one single print statement. So if you guys want to mess around with that, always add. See, you can always add more things to a string, to a print statement, and make it as long as you want, as long as you put in those pluses and the quotations in the right places. That's a little hint if you guys want to do that. Okay, if no one's saying any issues, I'll just share this code. So the answer for this little task, I'll put the chat. You type the age on that's not showing on the right. So have you did you type the name one first and then age? Are you basically here? And knowing if age isn't showing up here, you actually have to type your name in first, and then age will appear once you click enter. And Jamal, you have an issue on line 5. Can you maybe describe the issue? Or yeah. Maybe sorry, I'm not so sure how to say your name, Olasubomi. Could you also paste in the chat what you wrote for your on the line where you input your age? Okay. Maybe if you guys want to, you guys can also share your code to Malika on the chat. So if you look at the screen, you can click this little three-dot icon. And then if you click link, you can then send this link here on the chat. And then Malika can view it for you. So I'll just show that again. Click these three dots, go to link, and then you can copy and paste this link onto the chat. Hope that's all right with you guys. Okay, great. So, Malika, let me know if there's any issues with opening this. So again, this is another way to do it, but it's pretty similar. Okay. There are a few people just with some issues in the chat, but I'll just continue briefly. We've used variables, if you guys remember. Variables are how we store data. And variables can be stored, variables store a certain type of information. So if you guys know in school, you guys have whole numbers, and then you guys have decimal numbers. Those two pieces are called different things in computing. We have an integer, which are any whole number. So it can be negative, it can be positive. It's 0 to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, infinity, and -1, -2, -3, -4, infinity. A float means that there's a few numbers floating after it, so it's a decimal place. So 1.2, 3.1459, the world's long, I don't know, -70.90, that's a float. And then there's a few more, which we'll get to. So as you can see, this is what I was saying of what an integer is. So if you guys can see which of these are integers, 1, 5, and 7 are all integers because they are whole numbers. And just so you guys can practice, this is saying my age is 20, number 1. Number 5 is saying there are 132 sheep. And the 7th one is saying -1 is at y. Like, is the chat okay, or do you want me to help out with some of them? Okay. So here are the floats again. So age can be 20.21, 20.00, -1.02. So as you can see, only here, the year being 20.001 is a float because it has decimal places. And this is important because if you're adding numbers together in Python, you can't, you have to know what type, if you're using a float or an int, as it might change the output that you want. Now then, this whole time I've been talking about sentences and groups of words. Any group of words which aren't, or things that you don't want to count or do maths to, are called strings. So strings are just short text inside of speech marks, as you can see on the left. So you can't do mathematical operations on strings. Even if age is 20, if it's in quotation marks, you can't add 20. You can't you can't square the number. You can't subtract 5 from it. It would have to be an integer or a float to do that. So it's really just text. As you can see here, then the sentence number is a string, and 13 is a string as well, saying there are 13 cows. And now another data type that you'll come across a lot is called Boolean, bit of a strange name. This is simply true or false. So you can see on the left, true, false, false, true, with a capital letter. So you can imagine something like if you're checking if a light is on, you can say, is the light on? Set it to true. If it's off, set it to false. So it's almost like a switch. True, false, true, false. And here you can see Booleans are true or false again. Okay. Everyone good in the chat, Malika? Any issues? Okay. So do you guys have any questions on what we've covered today? Or if you want me to go over data types again? Everything makes sense? Okay, great. And we have a few minutes more, so I just want to show you here. What we've done so far today is that we've taken input, we've done stuff in the middle, and then we've outputted it back out. So that's essentially what a program is. You have something, you do some computer mathematical things, and you get a result. So while it just looks like we just asked us what our name is and printed it out. Really, we can basically make a questionnaire now. We can make a personality quiz if we want. We can say, who is your favorite character out of this? Or we can make we can make a story game, even a choice game. So that's most of all the content. So what are we going to go over tomorrow? Let me just quickly check that. I'll just stop sharing for a sec because it's on another screen somewhere. Tomorrow will be, let me open it. So tomorrow we'll be learning about lists and large data structures. So if you have one variable, you can store one value in it, which is fine if it's, one exam result or one item from the grocery store. But if you need to store an entire grocery haul and you're planning a big party and you need to get so many things, you need to have a list. You need to have things in order. You need to manage a list. You need to figure out how do you extract things from the list? How do you move things around? And how do you, you have larger data now. What do you do with more than just one value? So that's what we'll be doing tomorrow. And then the next few days, we'll be going into more functional things, if you've heard of loops, if statements, and then we'll be ending the week with playing around with some APIs. Don't worry if you don't know what APIs are now, but they're a fun way to sort of use your simple skills in a more complex environment. Yeah, so don't be afraid if you don't know what any of those mean. You should feel proud of yourself, especially now and by the end of the week. So should I do some practice on Python later on the day? Well, I would say you should always practice. You can always practice. If you enjoy it, is it even practice? It's just having fun. You don't need to practice for this course. You don't need to do any exams. You don't need to study. You can come to the lesson and we'll explain everything, and we'll have a second tutor to catch you up. But yeah, do anything you want to do with Python. Watch some videos. Yeah, have fun with it. Any other questions? Is there a link to practice on this lesson? Well, I can send you the work that I did for this lesson so that you can review some things and you can get creative with it. Actually, I'll just quickly, before I send you my version of it so you can practice, I'll also add underneath the different variables. So you can have name, which equals a string. So this is a string. It's in quotation marks. You can't do any maths on it. Actually, I'll set it to age. So even though the number is 30, it's in quotation marks. So you can't do any function, any maths on it. You can also have a variable called my age, and that can be 30. So that's blue, which means it's you can do mathematical operations. You can also do my specific age, whether I'm not 30. And you can set that to 30.455, which is a float. That's a floating number because it has decimals. And you can say, do I have age? And set it true, which means I'm not a floating ghost or something. I have an age. So these are the different data types. Tomorrow, we'll be looking at things that look like this. And so lots more data to have fun with. Just make sure this still runs. Yeah. So this is just if you guys want to remind yourself on different data types. I'll put it in the chat now. So yeah, any other questions? Any other issues? Let me know.
I'm sorry, John, I just wanted to ask, is everyone supposed to register or something, or is that already covered?
You should already be registered if you're registered in this.
Okay, cool.
Okay. If you guys have no other questions, then yeah, we'll see you guys throughout the week. There'll be a few other tutors, so don't think you're in the wrong place. If it's not me, there'll be a few other people taking turns. All of them are amazing though. So yeah. Yeah, so this is the end of the lesson. You guys are free to leave till tomorrow. Yeah, and thank you guys. Thanks for the collaboration and thanks for asking all the questions and being so collaborative. And thanks, Malika, for answering everything. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thanks, everyone. Goodbye.